Shalom. All praises going honor be unto Yahweh Bashem Avishai, Bahashem Rakar Kadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS, who are the true leaders of all Israel on earth today. Salutations to my Akim, the fellow laborers, who do this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so. All right. To the hopeful elect and the Akwathium that are listening, to you I say Shalom. This is a video by a guy that's put up called his channel is called The Last American Vagabond. All right, that's the name of the channel, and the name of the video is Russia False Flag Crumbles in Skripal 2.0, and Hamas attacks Israel, Weinstein indicted, and usable nukes. So what this guy focuses on, I'm trying to see if I can get the title in there. Yeah. So what this guy focuses on is current events that often are ignored by the mainstream media. Okay? But before I go any further, let me read the definition of vagabond, because that's exactly what Esau is, and we're going to get the scripture on that later on too. But it reads, and this is from the Winston Simplified Dictionary Encyclopedia Edition 1933, and it reads, it's from the Latin vagabundus, strolling about, to wander, one who roams about with no permanent abode, a wanderer especially, an idle fellow without honest means of support, a vagrant of tramp, a rascal, scamp, rogue, a wandering without a fixed dwelling place, roaming, vagrant, idle, and vicious. And that's everything that Esau, Edom, the so-called white man is, because his permanent, his abode, he dwells not there. Esau is in all these other lands and other places, calling himself by the names of these lands. All right, that's Psalms 49 and 11. All right, he calls the lands by his names, but he takes everyone else's, steals everyone else's land names and titles, and calls himself by those names. So it's a fitting definition for vagabond, which refers to Cain, and Cain through the spirit is came back as Esau, just as Abel came back as Jacob. All right, and only a spiritual person would understand that, even though there are clear precepts to prove that. But that's not the purpose of this lesson today. So without any further ado, let's let this video play.
Wednesday, May 30th, 2018. Welcome to the Daily Wrap-Up, a concise show dedicated to bringing you the most relevant, independent news as we see it from the last 24 hours. Well, we are in a very dangerous time today, where the United States' geopolitical influence is very clearly beginning to diminish. And as many would love to lay this at the feet of Donald Trump and his administration and his policies, they're no different than many presidents of the past.
This is true, because all the presidents of the past has pretty much done the same thing that Trump has done in their own manner, their own way. And this collective effort of them, which has brought the nations to feeling this way about them. Okay?
This is simply due to the collective, war-focused efforts of all the presidents of the past decades from both sides of the aisle. And this is simply the world's response to its ongoing interventionist policies. And just as we saw after the U.S. unilaterally pulled out of the Iran nuclear deal, the world is making a very clear statement that it does not agree with U.S. foreign policy, at least the way that it carries it out. And it will no longer be cowed by its militaristic power.
Let's stop right there. Got a scripture. This is it's not going to be cowed by his militaristic power. This is Isaiah 14 and 10. All they shall speak and say unto thee, art thou also become as weak as we? Art thou become like unto us? So these nations aren't fearing America anymore. Basically, there was a time when America was the only guy with the gun on the block. And he made, and America made sure that nobody else was packing. Nobody else had that pistol with the with the long clip and the extra clips. And see, when you were sitting at the table negotiating, some street business, and you're the only one with the pistol, nobody really can argue with you too much. But you show up to that meeting, and everybody else got pistols too. Now people, have more negotiating power for what it is that they want. Okay.
And acting like the cornered animal that it's becoming, and lashing out in an attempt to maintain the little power that it has.
That's true. So America's lashing out left and right with its media, with any way that it can, tries to defame people, and matter of fact, they're doing it so sloppily. They're doing it so piss poorly, so to speak. They're really getting sloppy, so they leave all these clues and evidence behind that they're clearly lying about many, many things.
It nonetheless handed down new sanctions even today on Iran. But we're seeing things like where India recently stood up and said that it will only recognize UN sanctions and no longer from the US, which really shows you the shift in political power.
The shift is that the nations are ready to deal treacherously. This is Isaiah 33:1. It says, "Woe to thee that spoilest," and America has spoiled many. "Woe to thee that spoilest, and thou wast not spoiled, and dealest treacherously, and they dealt not treacherously with thee. And when thou shalt cease to spoil, thou shalt be spoiled. And when thou shalt make an end to deal treacherously, they shall deal treacherously with thee." So America's going to be trying to make all these deals to save itself, and it's not going to stop the violence that's going to come upon it as a result of its actions.
But as we see this continue to develop, we have to recognize that whether we're talking about the military-industrial complex or any number of people that are profiting from this war-focused effort we've had for a very long time, they will do everything in their power to manipulate your perception, to either make them look like the bad guys or make it seem like there's some kind of a moral reason that we need to continue to invade other countries around the world. So we need to constantly be standing back and asking ourselves if what we're seeing, if what's being put in front of us is being used to elicit emotional responses from us, to lead us down one path, to progress a very specific agenda.
That's exactly what they do. They lie. Matter of fact, let's grab the Apocrypha and let's do a scripture that comes out constantly now, because that's the time frame that we're living in. But this is Sirach in the book of Ecclesiasticus, or just Sirach. That way it's no confusions, because Ecclesiastes and Ecclesiasticus sounds alike sometimes when people say it. So the book of Sirach, verse 10 and 8. And it reads, "Because of unrighteous dealings, injuries and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another." And this is what Esau does. It creates grievous injuries, right? And it's very deceitful. And then it translates kingdoms, resources, and powers to itself. And the whole world sees it and is calling them on it and resisting them now. America is receiving resistance on almost everything that it does now. All right. This is Deuteronomy 29:29. "The secret things belongeth unto Yahweh our power, but those things which are revealed belong unto us and our children forever, that we may do all the words of this law." So basically, all these things that America is doing, man, is being revealed. And it's being revealed on a very great and national level, man. They're being embarrassed and shamed.
That's something we need to be asking ourselves on a daily basis. And like anything else, there's no shortage of distraction stories being put out there to keep us from focusing on all the very important things going on, such as Starbucks and its sensitivity training that's just consumed the media. And I've never seen a better example of the divide and conquer moral outrage story of the day. And more importantly, which leads into the first article of the day coming from the antimedia.com, 5 things for America to ignore while arguing about Roseanne Barr. This is an excellent article by Carrie Wedler, and she always does a fantastic job of really highlighting these distraction stories and then showing you some of the most important things happening in general, but specifically while this distraction story is taking place. And these 5 examples are pretty amazing to see that these aren't being discussed while the media is.
Let's look up that word distraction. All right. The root word of it is distract. It's from the Latin. And it says to turn away the attention or divert from one object to another, to draw in various directions at once, confuse the mind, bewilder, to disorder the mind, to drive mad, derange. And Americans are mad and deranged, man. Because one thing that happens is every time something of relevance happens in America, or America does something that's damaging to it, these crazy stories come out in the news that totally distract, and it's almost like on cue. The moment something that's very relevant happens, there's a distraction story. There's a murder, a shooting, a court case, another celebrity found out, another Me Too bitch shows up. Something to distract Americans. Distraction. Drawing away of the attention from one object to another. Anything that draws away from attention, a diversion, cost of confusion, mental confusion due to drawing of the mind in various directions, bewilderment, agitation of the mind, violent distress, madness, or frenzy. And that's all what America's all about. That's that order ab chaos, man. Trying to get order out of chaos. All right, that's the MO. All right, I forget the Latin saying that what it means. There's a Latin word for it, and it I can't remember it right now. But that's the MO of the so-called white man. Okay, who is Esau Edom? The last vagabond.
Focusing on Roseanne Barr. First, President Trump slapped a 25% tariff on goods coming into the country from China. A move that ultimately burdens working Americans. It covers $50 billion worth of goods. Not very America first.
It sure isn't, because that's hurting your own citizens, man. That is very not America first, man, at all. As a matter of fact, let me see if hyperinflation is in here. Let's look up hyperinflation. Let's see what it says, man. Slovakia. This was just done by the Spirit. So originally playing this out, I just kind of watched this video and this popped in my head to do this, So here we are. Hyper. Wow, I probably need to go to the big boy. Because believe it or not, Esau doesn't have that in there. It went right by it, where it should have been right there. Yep. It went from C to R. There's no hyperinflation. Hypocritical is there, though, but nevertheless, let's just keep it rolling. It wasn't there. I'm not going to run and get the other book.
The Department of Homeland Security has doubled down on its plans to monitor journalists, an example of threatening free speech that follows previous government efforts to keep tabs on the press and reports that are critical of the state. DHS insists there is no reason to worry. Of course they do. Number 3, exponentially more people died in Puerto Rico as a result of Hurricane Maria than previously reported.
Not shocked at all.
The government's official death toll was 64. In truth, it's over 4,600, according to a survey published this week in the New England Journal of Medicine. That's more than 70 times the government's tally. The U.S. government's response to the natural disaster in the U.S. territory was wildly insufficient. Well, there's nothing new there, just even within the mainland of the United States.
It was an all-out lie. It wasn't insufficient. It was an all-out lie, okay, about the deaths in Puerto Rico. You know that there's no way it could be that type of flooding, that type of lack of water and food, and only 60 people died and when the suffering lasted as long as it did.
States, and people are still struggling now to recover from it and survive. Number 4, the Department of Justice approved Bayer's takeover of Monsanto, sealing the collaboration of two of the most corrupt corporatist companies in the world. And that's a very big...
That is so true. Because Bayer, you know, who could forget about the time that Bayer sent those, I believe those HIV, it was AIDS. It was HIV infested aspirin to France or some other, or one of those countries. I forget where it sent it to when that story broke. And Monsanto is a company that created poisons and weapons of war. And this same company got put over food. That's why you got all this food. This all. Who would do that? Who would take a company with a group of scientists that make that's whole purpose of existence was death, to destroy people, to destroy nations, to destroy armies, and put that same people over the food supply? Who would do that? Only a vagabond, a vicious, murderous vagabond would do that. Okay? This is Psalms 58:3. And it reads, "The wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they are born, speaking lies." And the so-called white man is caught in lies every day. You know, this internet, you know, is revealing them. All right? Just as it was prophesied in Psalms, the 19th chapter, this internet was created for the elect. All right? Esau saw it as a vehicle to make all kind of money and expand his businesses, but this is the way his downfall is coming. All right? Because this gospel is going into the heavens. It's spreading to the four corners of the earth. All right? Because it couldn't have been that the lie of false Christianity of with Cristobal Colon of Edomite Jesus, white Jesus. That lie has been circulating the world for 600 something years now, you know, give or take. All right. And the Lord hasn't come. But look at all the things that are happening now since the men of the Lord have gone over the airways, man. You know, as the word has been going through the circle of the earth. Psalms 58:4. Their poison is like the poison of a serpent. They are like a death adder that stoppeth up the ear. All right. So so Esau Edom is just being revealed on a grand scale worldwide, man. Okay? And they're just getting caught in their lies.
Deal, and that's something that is getting zero attention, of course. It goes against these antitrust laws. Department of Justice just doesn't care. Move forward because it benefits all of the elite. Number 5, the Trump administration is covering up civilian deaths in overseas wars even more than the Obama administration, which also tried to keep the numbers under wraps. This is of particular concern considering the number of bombs dropped by the U.S. military has skyrocketed under Trump. And that last week...
So basically, they've killed millions of people, okay, since the start of this war, which has started all based upon a lie. It was all, there were never any weapons of mass destruction. This was a plan to get control over that region of the earth. All right. And the Lord has put it on their spirits to do this, man. All right. To bring upon that end. He rose them up so that he can destroy them. All right. And since they pursue blood is going to pursue them. So let's go. This is Genesis 4:14. It says, "Behold, thou hast driven me this day from the face of the earth, and from thy face shall I be hid. And I shall be a fugitive and a vagabond in the earth. And it shall come to pass that everyone that findeth me shall slay me." And that's true, because that's what's going to be hunted. Edomites are going to be hunted on every continent, every place where they are. They're the true minority. All right. What's happening in South Africa is going to spread to the rest of the world, which is one of the reasons why the mainstream media doesn't pick it up. Because truth be said, truth be told, that's a sentiment that the majority of the world has towards these vagabonds right about now. Okay? Let's go to Genesis 9:6. And it reads, "Whoso sheddeth man's blood, by man shall his blood be shed. And in the image of power made he man." So The Edomites have been shedding the blood of all the nations, of all the people, especially the children of Israel. And so by all these people, their blood is going to be shed. There's no way around it. Okay? There's no way around what the Edomites are about to go through. Okay, let's go to the book of Leviticus. This is Leviticus 24:17. All right, and he that killeth a man shall surely be put to death, and that actually says murder. All right, that's Esau putting English words in there, when he printed the Bible, but that says murder because there's actually the Bible clearly tells you there's a time to heal and there's a time to kill. So sometimes, so depending, because you can kill someone if you're defending yourself, defending your country, defending your family, it's something to that effect. Murder, and so there's a difference between killing and murder. All right, they're not the same thing. Okay. Now let's go to last and final scripture and close this thing out. It's another scripture that's been coming out constantly, at least with me. I've heard other brothers been bringing it out too. But this is Ezekiel, the 35th chapter. And new sword. And the 6th verse, and it reads, Therefore as I live, saith Yahweh power, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Sith thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. So there's no way out of what's coming to these vagabonds. Call halal Yahweh Ba'Shem Abishai, Ba'Hashem Rakakadash, and Abba Babal.